West Coast Podcast. I'm Shane, and with me, as always, is my man, Trey.
Yes, sir. My name is Trey. His name is Shane. We are back with another episode of the West Coast Podcast. Coming at you 9:15 p.m. this time. Shane always keeps me on my toes with his time restraints, but he's pretty excited because he's got some quiet time to really yell and scream like he does often. I'm pretty sure because I've been known to peep, and he's definitely pretty loud. So that's all well and good, but we appreciate the continued support as we inch closer to some pretty exciting details down the future. Shane definitely plans to be more engaged with the streaming come Madden 26 time. There's not a whole lot of news though that has been going on with the college football and Madden 26 news. I've been hearing that the emphasis this year is going to be put on the superstar and the road to glory modes, but as far as what Shane and I play, which is gameplay related type stuff, not too much has been reported on what the game will be like. So we're just licking our chops, waiting for the news to come out about how the game's going to play. Spoiler alert, it'll probably be the same as it always has been, but when you've been playing Madden for as long as Shane and I have been playing it, you just kind of learn to roll with the punches and accept the fact that EA Sports is a greedy company that's incompetent, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, how they can be $1 billion company and be as incompetent as they are, I do not know. But with all that being said, we have the NFL draft coming up pretty soon. But before we talk about that, Shane, how have you been doing these last few weeks before we get into it?
I am going good. The NFL draft just happened. Trey is golden. Trey is golden with the NFL draft. He knows all that stuff. He is going to be able to be like, yo, this is what's going on and all that. We got Trey Jr. in the building. You were watching Baruto until I saw you go live. Hey man, we appreciate you. Trey Senior and I, we appreciate you being in here, Trey Junior. You didn't like the draft? No man, I've been pretty good. Like I said, I'm trying to enjoy the weather. I've been hooping a little bit, working out a lot. Yeah, basically, man, I'm trying to take a little bit of a break here for the last for the next month and a half. Well, a few weeks. It's getting quicker, and then Trey Senior and I we're gonna be doing some Fall Guys together. You're gonna see me be incompetent and Trey be be a goon on it. We'll be streaming that, and then we'll be back. We'll be back. Doing Madden 26, but we'll be on the new schedule, the evening schedule. I will post it. I'll post it on Twitter. I'll post it on the community on our YouTube, and just basically will be evening going on. Hopefully people tune in and hang out in the evening, and then I will be sporadic during the day. So you might be able to catch me during the day. Sometimes I'll be doing day and night. So that's pretty cool. Trey Jr. has some news for us. Let me know, man. Let me know. But Trey Sr., how have you been doing lately, bro?
Yes, sir. Shout out to Trey Jr. for hopping into stream. He's been rocking with the Shane Got You 11 channel for a long time. He's definitely one of the OGs and all that, so we appreciate him stopping by. But yeah, Shane, I've just been kept grinding, just kept moving along. It's really all you can do in this time. But yeah, the NFL draft is crazy. Um, I would say probably the biggest storyline to come out of the NFL draft is Shadur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders fell. He was initially projected to be a first round quarterback, but as you guys know now, he fell to the fourth round, I believe, where the Cleveland Browns picked him up. I'm pretty sure it was Cleveland. So, and Cleveland had the opportunity to get Travis Hunter. They ended up trading with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Jacksonville Jaguars gave up some pretty significant draft capital to move up to take Travis Hunter. And with the Browns' first pick, they took Mason Graham. So let me know, for the people that are watching this, who do you think won the trade in that draft? Me personally, I think when you have the opportunity to take a player like Travis Hunter, I think you have to take him. Um, and this is where bad teams, in my opinion, stay bad teams, right? Say you go into the drafts saying you need, okay, these are the top players that we need. We need a wide receiver, halfback, whatever. But if you're purely drafting on need and you completely ignore the best player available, now I understand if you have like a franchise quarterback, then yeah, you probably don't want to take a quarterback. But in my opinion, if you're a team that's constantly passing on best player available to draft needs, then I think that's how you stay bad. So really, at the end of the day, Shane, time will tell who won on that trade. But my brother, shout out to Treep Talks, he's a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, so he was pretty amped up to get Travis Hunter. And the new GM, James Gladstone, has massive Gladstones for trading up to acquire Travis Hunter. And but going back to the whole Shedeur Sanders thing, this is a topic that I kind of want to tread a little bit lightly, because I know that there's a lot of people are split down the middle. People on one side of things will say that the NFL doesn't like Deion Sanders, and that's why Shedeur Sanders fell from where we are. Other people say that because of Shedeur Sanders' antics. You even had some NFL executives and general managers that when they interviewed Shedeur Sanders, he would come in with his headphones on, not really paying attention, and basically being disrespectful, as was reported by people. They were saying that he was being disrespectful, and his attitude was, well, if you guys don't like me, then don't draft me. And the NFL GMs called his bluff on that one, and that's when he fell. And if you are a Trevor Lawrence prospect, then you could probably get away with being that way. But if you're someone like Shedeur Sanders, and this is probably the most cut and dry way to put things, that's not gonna really ruffle anyone's feathers, so to speak. But if you're up here, if your talent level is high, then the more you can get away with. But if your talent level is just okay, but your drama level exceeds that, then you're probably gonna have some problems. And as what was seen with Shedeur Sanders on that one. So, but we're talking about my favorite team, the New England. Oh, and another thing, I tested Shane about this when the draft came on, and I was pretty surprised by this. So the San Francisco 49ers, shout out to Colston Loveland. He is from Idaho, which is also where I am from, Idaho. He was the first tight end taken off the board, but a lot of people thought that Tyler Warren from Penn State was going to be the best tight end, so Colston Loveland's ended up going before him, and the 49ers are on the clock. And if I'm the 49ers, I'm sprinting to Roger Goodell to draft Tyler Warren, because if you got George Kittle on one side and you got Tyler Warren on the other side, and you got Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. 12 personnel for days. And if you can have any semblance of a run game, I mean, we saw that with the 2011 Patriots when you had Rob Gronkowski and whoever that other guy is. I'm not going to say his name, but that team was just as good as the 2007 team, in my opinion, and that was because they had two tight ends on the field. And when you have two tight ends on the field, it makes it difficult for the defense to cover. And if you can run the ball out of that formation, they have to respect the run, but also you got two tight ends on either side of the ball that can really stretch the field vertically and otherwise. And I tested Shane when that happened. I was like, "You guys dodged a bullet, dodged a bullet." And I don't even remember who I think the 49ers took an edge rusher. They took a defensive player, I'm pretty sure, and they didn't end up going offense or whatever. But I think that Shane, you guys dodged a bullet with that one. And but yeah, my team, the New England Patriots. We're talking about Idaho and what WSU. Shout out to the Patriots because we drafted a whole lot of Big Sky Conference players. Not only do we get Kyle Williams is FBS, he's not FCS, but he's from Washington State, and we took him. Got a whole bunch of we took one guy, Chisholm, I believe his name was, from Eastern Washington as an undrafted free agent, but from what a lot of people are saying across the league is that the New England Patriots actually had one of the better drafts of the entire NFL. Um, I forget who said it. The name is kind of slipping me at this moment, but he works for the Athletic and he writes the Beast, which is like a written evaluation of every player. But he actually said that the New England Patriots had the best draft class of this year. So definitely pretty excited. Pretty excited about that. I won't lie, I did want them to take Ashton Genty. I was infatuated with the idea of having Drake May and Ashton Genty working in the backfield, and I would have taken Genty, and I would have combined draft picks to move back into the back end of the first round to take Josh Carley, the tackle. So, but them taking Will Campbell, I can't be upset about that. Obviously, it's need. Was he the best player available? No, but there wasn't really. Genty was probably the best player available, but for the way the team is, and plus the running back class this year being very deep, and we were able to take Travion Henderson from Ohio State in the second round. So all in all, it was a pretty good draft. So that was a big ramble starting off the podcast. So Shane, I know you weren't really too keen on the draft, but if you had any thoughts, and I also hope that you have some thoughts on the Alabama quarterback that you guys took, Jalen Milroe, and I think you guys got rid of Sam Howell too. So, what is your thoughts on the draft? Do you have anything you want to say about the whole Shadur dilemma, and also talk about how the Seahawks did and Jalen Milroe?
No, man, I loved it, Trey. I loved what you were going through about the NFL draft. You covered it pretty damn well, man. First of all, I want to shout out to Trey Jr. He did become Twitch affiliate for the first time ever on his dad's birthday. So Trey Jr., congrats, bro. That's a big deal, man. You should be proud of yourself. Um, the whole thing with Shadir Sanders, like from what I read, bro, it was attitude. He thought he was a superstar in the NFL before he was a superstar in the NFL. And that doesn't mean he won't be a superstar in the NFL. Like people are writing off Sanders like there's no way in hell he's gonna be anything good now. It's his attitude, it's this, it's even his tools. I mean, I don't buy all that. I think he'll be decent enough. I think he might even be really good if he studies the playbooks and he does all that. But Yeah, I don't really buy all the like the certain things they're all going on about how, he got blackballed because of who his dad was, and it's this and it's that. Like, that's not the reason why. It really is because he showed up to, meetings with his headphones on. I read one thing where he didn't even read the playbook that they gave to him. Um, so like that's all kind of question marks, you know what I mean, written around Sanders. It kind of actually reminds me of the whole Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning, who are you going to draft first? And Ryan Leaf was given question marks out like Sanders was. Now, Ryan Leaf was dominant. I mean, he was a dominant college quarterback. To say that he was anything else is a lie, but he was a little too immature. Like, I had a buddy who was in college around the same time that Ryan Leaf was a god in WSU, and he literally said in the bar down at Pullman, "I'm basically a god." I mean, so like that doesn't help you, and it doesn't mean that you can't get mature, you can't grow up from it because people do grow. And I'm not going to say Shadir Sanders won't grow from it. Maybe it's a little humbling. Maybe it's going to show how good he is. Maybe it's going to light a fire. And like Trey Jr. just said, yeah, he kind of hurt himself. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of true. He did hurt himself. Like, he is not like the next generational talent. Like, who can I throw out there? Like Itani, right, for baseball. Everybody wanted him because, I mean, look at what he does in baseball. Look what he did for the Angels. Look what he does for the Dodgers. That is like extreme talent. That's a five-tool player. Yes, does it make it even better that Itani has no attitude? Sure, but like for people that are like, oh, it's because of this or it's because of that. No, people would take players with attitudes all day as long as they're really, really good. You know when they stop taking the attitude is when you stop being good enough, right? So like when Earl Thomas, I'll use that, or Richard Sherman was starting to act up, but they were on the downslope. The Seahawks kind of got rid of them. Right or wrong, loyalty or no loyalty on that part, that's not the discussion. The discussion is if Shadir Sanders had the five-tool talent that all the NFL owners really thought he did, they would have picked him up. They would have gave a damn about his attitude. They would have picked him up. They would have had him as their QB. So hopefully it works out for him, man. I have no problems with him. I think he'll be a good QB. Um, the issue is, like I said, and what you said, Trey, is he didn't really study the playbooks that some teams gave him, and then at the same time, headphones on, that doesn't help. Now, New England Patriots did get a great wide receiver, in my opinion, with the WSU Kyle Williams pickup. He is going to be really, really good, Trey. So you should be like super excited about that. I saw Genty went to the Raiders, Pete Carroll. That just shows, that's what Pete Carroll is, right? Smash mouth, take the deep shot, um, and play good defense. So that'll be interesting because Genty to me was the best running back in the draft. And also at the same time, like I was watching the Seahawks, they got graded an A. They got that big lineman from, I believe, North Dakota State, which is FBS, right? They usually win it all, right? I'm pretty sure North Dakota State, and all those.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were either. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm pretty sure they either won the FCS national championship or was in the finals, like basically every year for the FCS.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, not FBS. I apologize. FCS because EW played them one time, I believe, and I think EW won it when they had Cooper Cup. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that, but or they made it to the championship against them because yeah, they're always in the championship, like Trey just said. Because I see it on my local channel. I said FBS. I'm at FCS. Good job, Trey. Bad Shane. No, but the Seahawks. No, I liked everything they did, and then they got that DB who was like basically said that he won't try for a pick against the 49ers. He'd prefer to lay out the wide receiver. and everybody's going crazy about like, oh, it's LOB 2.0, and Cam Chancellor even loved it what the guy said and ragged him up. I just never jump on the hype right away. Like, I'm not that type of guy. Like, yeah, it's cool that he said it, but what if he gets burned, a bunch of times and he doesn't work out? But what if he works out? I just never crown or not or want to cut somebody right away. That's how I am in any sports. Like, yeah, about the midway point is when I start to get, or even a third of the way through, if they're like total butt or like amazing, then I'll get really excited. But not at the start usually. Like Trey Jr. said, he said he doesn't know anything about the QB the Saints drafted, but hopefully he finds a QB that can boost their team. Yeah, I don't know who you guys drafted either. Oh, speaking about Milroe from Alabama, everybody was showing like it was fun. Doesn't mean it'll work out, but like the connections of how the Seahawks paid a ton of money for Matt Flynn, and then Russell Wilson won the starting quarterback job, and then you sign Sam to a big contract, and then all of a sudden you draft Jalen Milroe. This is the one that I believe in, though, you guys. This is the one that I believe in. The whole, you paid Matt Flynn bunch of money. Russell Wilson came, won the starting job. Oh, you got Darnold, big money, and then you draft Milroe. I think Milroe becomes a quarterback sooner than later, Trey. I'm being honest. I think he's really trying to build a team like he did in Baltimore with Lamar, a tough defense, and all that. Sooner than later, Milroe will be the starting QB. Will it be this year? Possibly. But I bet he's the starting QB by next year at the latest. And that is where I'm going to go with my crazy prediction that probably isn't really crazy. But I'm going to go with Milroe becoming the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks by the end of this year. Book it.
Alright, so that is a bold prediction by Mr. Shane Got You 11. I don't know if I see it. Like, I'm pretty sure Sam Darnold's probably going to start the season. I mean, it could be intentions that he will start next season, but to say that he's going to start this season, I don't know. I think it's a bit much because when the Ravens took Lamar Jackson, I'm pretty sure they already had like a system in place that was ready for him to take the reins and start right away. And Lamar Jackson, I think, was a better prospect than Milroe. I mean, obviously, right? Because Lamar was a first round pick, and Milroe is fourth round or whatever. So yeah, he's definitely gonna need some work. He's a guy that can run, he can throw the ball, but it's definitely gonna take some time to really get into coverages and things of that nature. So I'll be looking forward to it. But Shane's over here saying that he's gonna start, so we will see. But yeah, and the whole Shedeur Sanders thing, just going back to that, and I like Coach Prime. I like Colorado. I do think that a lot of the hate that they receive, there's kind of some when I see that kind of stuff, I'm like, the underlying subtext to me does kind of say that it's kind of racist kind of behavior. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But Colorado, Coach Prime, that those guys play with an edge to them and all that. And to me, I don't really think there's nothing wrong with that. I actually don't mind Colorado for that. So, and I'm pretty excited to see what Coach Prime does. And also, I do not agree with what they did when Colorado retired the number 12 and whatever number Shedeur Sanders wore. I don't even know what number he wore, but they retired those jerseys at Colorado, and that is just way too soon, in my opinion. In my opinion, for them to retire. I mean, Travis Hunter, I get it. You're probably not going to see that level of player again, but Shedeur Sanders, no, I don't think so. But Shane, we're talking would you rather, and that's another segment for the podcast, but since you were talking about Ryan Leaf, I got a would you rather for you. So obviously Drew Bledsoe had a better overall NFL career than Ryan Leaf did, but if we're judging them solely on what they did for WSU, who are you taking between Ryan Leaf and Drew Bledsoe, you think?
Damn, Trey, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, man, Drew Bledsoe led the team back against the Huskies in the Snow Bowl. That was so much fun, right? I don't even know if you're alive. I don't think you were actually. So I'm dating myself. You weren't alive, bro. Just, you know, never mind. You weren't alive, but you probably know about it. Um, Ryan Leaf was setting records from my memory bank. Took him to the Rose Bowl. They lost to Charles Woodson and the Michigan Wolverines. Crazy ranking, I believe they had. I would take Ryan Leaf. So in this segment for me, I would take Ryan Leaf. What about you, Trey?
Yeah, like you said, I was not alive for that game, but I do remember watching it. I'm not too sure. I could be thinking of a different game, but is the game that you're talking about with the Huskies, was that the one game where it was like very snowing and stuff, or am I thinking of a completely different game where it was just like pouring down snow and all that?
No, that yeah, it was called the Snow Bowl. Like if you look it up, it was the Cougars game was a Snow Bowl. Yeah, it was dumping and they came back from a big deficit, I believe, from my memory bank. Let's see. I can even look it up right now. WSU Cougars Snow Bowl. Yeah, 1992. Yeah. That team went 9-3, bro. So they were pretty good too.
Right. And so do you think because you said you would take Ryan Leaf, so is it entirely possible if because for Ryan Leaf, I also think the people around him deserve. Obviously, he's a grown man. He makes his own decisions, so ultimately he's responsible for not making the most of his NFL opportunity. But do you think if he would have surrounded himself with the right people and he didn't have issues with drugs and off the field problems, do you think it's entirely possible that he could have went on to have a better NFL career than Drew Bledsoe did?
You know, I would say yes. I would say yes, bro. I mean, that guy had all the physical talent in the world. I mean, big arm, fast enough, great accuracy, right? I mean, like like he was so good, and I was old enough to watch him and like actually take it all in. Drew Bledsoe, I was still young. Just looking up the stats, Ryan Leaf is better than Drew Bledsoe at WSU. So for me, that's a really good one, Trey. That's a real good segment that you brought up for it. I just think, yeah, I think Ryan Leaf would have been the number one draft pick. I think he would have beat out Peyton Manning. I really do. I think it was all the questions behind it and everything like that. Um, like I mean, we're going. Listen to this, bro. Listen to what Ryan Leaf did in his junior year. 33 touchdowns and 10 picks in 1997 when the defense could play even more defense. He's throwing 3 touchdowns to 1 pick basically. For every time he throws a ball, there's only 2% chance he's throwing a pick, and every time he's thrown a touchdown or every time he throws a pass, there's almost a 9%, bro, chance to have a touchdown. That is crazy. So in a defensive, more of a defensive game than now, he had 33 touchdowns. Every time he passed, almost every 10 passes was a touchdown. And still doing that, he only threw a pick only 2% of the time that he dropped back. Ryan Leaf to me, I mean, if he had like Peyton Manning's mind or a Tom Brady mind, like Ryan Leaf, Ryan Leaf is in the Hall of Fame. Call me crazy. Smash me on this. Like, let me know in the comment section. Let me know when we drop this short. Let me know at TikTok, anything. Am I crazy to believe that if Ryan Leaf had Tom Brady or Peyton Manning's mindset, that he wouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame? Big body, great arm, accurate. To me, he had all the tools, Trey. I don't know what you think, but he's a Hall of Famer if he has the right mindset.
Yeah, no, and it just makes it even that more tragic when you think about it. You know how he had the potential to have all this. I mean, it is the reality of the sports, but then looking back, it's like a damn. But I've been kind of keeping up with what Ryan Leaf is doing. I mean, I watched a video not too long ago. Shout out to Flemlo Raps. He did a really good docu series. It was like a career flashback of Ryan Leaf, and it was pretty good. And sounds like he's been getting involved in like helping other people who have struggled with substance abuse and things of that nature. So ultimately, I think he was able to get back on the right path and try to help people in a way that even an NFL Hall of Famer can. Helping with that kind of stuff. So it is tragic, but in the end of the day, you just got to keep pushing forward. So it looks like that's what Ryan Leaf did.
Um,
But
can,
Shane,
can you hear
how
me?
excited are you? We're a few months away from Madden 26 being released and College Football 26 being released. So what are your expectations? Have you heard anything about what this game is supposed to be in terms of what gameplay wise, or has it been pretty quiet as far as you've been hearing? And also, who do you think is going to be on the cover? We tested about this a few weeks ago, and I picked Jalen Hurts. Or no, I said Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley. I said Saquon Barkley would be on the cover of Madden 26, and I think you agree with me on that. So yeah, what do you or what is your excitement level right now going into Madden 26?
To finish up on the last part real quick, yeah, Ryan Leaf has actually been helping people with their like addictions and like hopefully, man, he's changed a lot. So good for him, man. Hopefully he continues. Addiction's not easy. Trey Jr. wanted to know about the Saints. Most people gave it about a C to a B minus draft. I do know Trey Jr., who Kevin Banks Jr. is from Texas. That was a good get. And then the QB was Tyler Shaw. I don't know who he is. I'm not going to lie. A lot of people said it was a mixed draft class. So basically, it was like a meh draft. For Madden 26, no, man, I haven't heard much besides, how the guy that I know saying that they're going to try to, like, fix the click-ons to like a certain amount of times you can click on or whatever, or like switch stick, excuse me. There's like they're trying to do a certain amount of times you can do switch stick, and then they're talking about bringing back pinch protection, which I would love. But man, I'm never really like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really that excited. I'm just like, it is what it is. And sure, when it comes out, I'll definitely be excited, a little nervous, because I want to see how good I am. Like that's always a worry for me. Like what if I completely fell off, or what if the game's completely the opposite? Um so for me, I get excited when the game drops. I haven't heard much on that. Uh so I don't know that Trey Jr., I don't know what you mean about limiting. They're trying to limit me. I don't know what you mean about that. Um, yeah, so we did do that on, if people went to on the Shane Got You 11 YouTube channel on the community tab, I have been posting like questions and like poll questions and that. And basically Trey Senior, they all agreed with us. They the majority believe that Saquon Barkley would be the cover athlete for Madden 26.
Yeah, no question. And we'll be covering, on the YouTube channel, and I know Shane's gonna be doing some videos because he always covers the patch notes and the news and things like that. Been pretty consistent on that, but I would say for me personally, the one thing that I'm hoping, because I mean, like Shane said, I know by now that they're not gonna fix everything, and there's gonna be, for every problems that this current game has, there's going to be a whole new set of problems that we're going to have to deal with. So I would say the one thing that I could choose that they would fix is the middle third zone specifically. I know I'm getting out of left field, I'm getting into the nerd side of things, but the middle thirds being manipulated is trash. At least when it was the outside thirds, you could adjust them to be in a deep half if they were going for a cover three beater. With the middle third, and you're able to manipulate that, there's not really much you can do with that. So my whole thing is that I hope they fix the middle third, and I'm hoping that they add pinch protection, because there should be no reason that if you guys have nano detection that rushers should be flying through the A gaps and the B gaps. It is trash. But with all that being said, Shane, do you want to get into the would you rather segment? I know that the question that.
Are you there, Trey?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you totally cut out, bro.
Yeah, that was my PlayStation. That was Siri made an appearance and was like, "Sorry, I couldn't find any results." Yeah, no one asked you. Go away. Am I right? But so Shane, your would you rather question was, would you rather be a Buffalo Bills fan and lose four straight Super Bowls in the '90s, or would you rather be a Minnesota Vikings fan and lose four, however many Super Bowls? So that was the premise. Is that the question that you are still going to ask for this segment? And could you clarify again what you meant by that?
Okay, so for this segment in the Would You Rather segment, which is, hey, we're going to use this every podcast we do. Either Trey will have one for me or I'll have one for him, or we'll both have one. He had one a little bit earlier about Ryan Leaf or Drew Bledsoe. That was a great one. So it's like late night, right, Trey? And I'm just like, And I'm going over some statistics and I'm like, ooh. And so basically in this segment, would you rather be a Buffalo Bills fan or a Minnesota Vikings fan? The Buffalo Bills lost four straight Super Bowls from 1991 to 1994. The Vikings at the same time are 0-4 in Super Bowls, and they lost in 1970, 1974, 1975, and 1977. So both teams are 0-4 in Super Bowls. Buffalo Bills went 0-4 in four straight Super Bowls, while the Vikings in the 1970s went 0-4 in the first 7 years of that decade. And this is for anyone to answer. So Trey Jr., you can pop in with your comments. This will definitely be asked on our community channel on TikTok and on our shorts. So Trey Senior, would you rather be a Vikings fan or a Buffalo Bills fan and suffer through that? Which one would be worse for you?
All right. Well, like just starting this podcast off, I kind of have to be a little bit biased here because, as you know, I am a Patriots fan, and the Bills are in the AFC East, so therefore I cannot say in good faith, even though they are the better team than us currently. Although I will say that Josh Allen is not our daddy. Tua is actually our daddy. Yeah, Josh might be the better quarterback in the AFC East right now. Drake May is coming for that title in the next year, but as of right now, we've split with Buffalo the last 2 years, but ever since Tua came into the division, we have not beat him once. So there's that. But I would, even with that, even with the whole bias thing aside, I'm probably still going to go with the being the Vikings because I feel like I kind of dealt with the whole Vikings thing as a Patriots fan because there was a period from when we last beat the Philadelphia Eagles in 2004 and we had our first dynasty. You go from there, we had a heartbreaking loss in the AFC Championship game. Granted, it wasn't the Super Bowl where Peyton Manning came back and beat us when we had I forgot how much of a lead we had on them, and that was tough. You know, you had the 17-0 loss to the Giants, and then we lose to them again. Fuck Eli Manning. Dude, if anyone tries to tell me that Eli Manning did anything that was worth a S in those two Super Bowls, I'm going to fight you. Because Eli Manning had a horseshoe up his rear end. I thought that every pass he completed in those two Super Bowls was bullish, and he did not deserve to win those two Super Bowls. And I'm still pissed about it to this day. Um, but yeah, you do that. We were able to, unfortunately, against the Seahawks, we were able to win that one. But it was kind of rough for those couple while. So I think I could kind of already be with the Minnesota Vikings on that one. But to lose four straight in the row, man, that seems kind of more rough to me in the grand scheme of things. But what about you, Shane? What do you think?
So Trey Jr. said he would rather be a Vikings fan over the Buffalo Bills in the Would You Rather segment. You went with the Vikings too, right? Correct, Trey?
Yeah, I went with the Vikings. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I would go with the Vikings too because four straight Super Bowls by the Buffalo Bills. Think about that. You guys got to think about how crazy that is. You go to the Super Bowl not once, not twice, not three times, but four times. And you have to think like you have Thurman Thomas, you have Jim Kelly, you have so many Hall of Famers on that team. You're thinking, I got to get one. As a fan, you're thinking about, hey man, next year we'll get him next year. Then you make the Super Bowl a second straight year, and you're like, maybe this is it. Then you go to a third straight Super Bowl and lose again, and then the fourth straight Super Bowl. I probably wouldn't have any heart, man. I'd be like, whoever you believe in is just effing with me, right? Whatever you believe in, like karma, God, Buddha, whatever, you'd have to think that you're getting effed with. Four straight Super Bowls. I guarantee you, if you were hanging out with those Buffalo Bill fans during the early '90s, especially the older folks, you probably would believe I'll never see a Super Bowl win in my life. And I can kind of feel them on that pain, you guys. Like, as a Seattle Mariners fan, for baseball, I've been around 40 years, and they have made the playoffs in 95, in 97, in 2000, in 2001, and 2022. So basically, once every 8 years, they've made the playoffs for my existence. They've made zero World Series. So my mom's favorite quote is there's always next year, but I'd always tell her, nah, that's not how life works. Because, I mean, that just doesn't always happen. So look at here. I'll even throw you guys a curveball on this one. Think about being a Boston Red Sox fan, right? You trade Babe Ruth and you don't win a World Series for 100 years. Think about all the people that lived and said, well, maybe next year. Oh, maybe next year. You'd really have to believe in the Babe Ruth curse, right? You'd think it was idiotic, but at the same time, you'd be like, man, we're a cursed franchise. Like, I didn't know before looking up, though, with the statistics that the Minnesota Vikings literally haven't been in a Super Bowl for 48 years. So that means 8 years longer than me. They haven't been in a Super Bowl. So honestly, you guys, I mean, there isn't always next year. So look at Buffalo Bills. I mean, they haven't been there for 31 years. So, like, for me, I would much rather be a Vikings fan because that Buffalo Bills I would have been alive for. So 4 straight seasons of watching them go to the Super Bowl and lose, that would have been enough to make me an alcoholic. I'm just being honest. That's enough to make somebody be a drinker or just start doing drugs, man. 4 straight years? Come on, man. You know what I mean, though, Trey? It's like somebody's cursing you.
Yeah, no doubt. And, imagine this too, right, Shane? You're a Buffalo Bills fan. Your most popular play and the play that people are gonna know you for is when you're getting when you're getting the brakes beat off of you in a Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys, and what's that guy's name? Don Beebe. They had an interception or a fumble, I can't remember, and the game's already over, and he's just running to a touchdown. Well, Don Beebe comes sprinting because he was pissed off that he was losing, and he strips the ball away. And then for 20 years, everyone talks about, oh, it's so impressive he never gave up even though they were losing. Could you imagine if you were someone that had a gamble on that game back in the day, and that one touchdown is what prevented you from winning or losing like $5,000 or something? Could you imagine that? That would be fucking oh, sorry, I cussed. That would be absolutely hilarious. But at least they were known for that. But I also have one more would you rather for this one, and this one is kind of coming out of left field. So, okay, Shane, I know that you're somebody that does not get a lot of sleep, probably. In fact, I don't know when the last time you got a full, good 8 hours sleep in. It seems like you're one of those people that likes to sleep in pockets. But for this hypothetical scenario, right? The dream fairy comes to you and he says, okay, Shane, tonight you're going to have the most vivid, the most intense, the most real dream you have ever had in your life. And you have two choices. You can either decide for that dream to be the best dream that you've ever had in your life, or it will be the worst dream of your life. Now, it seems kind of simple on the surface, but I want you to take this into consideration before you answer. If you pick the more obvious one, which is I want to have the best dream, there is a possibility that when you wake up the next day, you're probably going to cry because you have to wake up to reality, and it's going to be so it's going to be so worse than whatever dream you were having in. On the other side of things, if you pick the worst nightmare that you ever have and you were able to pull through it, then all of a sudden when you do wake up to reality, it's actually not that bad and you'll actually be relieved to be in the reality. So given those two choices, Shane, which one would you pick?
You know, I love the Would You Rather segment. So let's document this, Trey. May 2nd, 2025, the Would You Rather segment has come alive on the West Coast Podcast. So I like it. Best dream or the worst dream? And the most vivid of my life. Yeah, Trey Jr. It is a good one by Trey Sr. I do enjoy it. Um, okay, so I've kind of had both, honestly. Sometimes I have vivid dreams for sure. Yeah, I don't sleep well either with my back, or I'm just a light sleeper and I hear everything. So yeah, I don't remember the last time I got 8 hours straight, honestly. Okay, so I'm gonna go off like the best dream. Best dream, one of the best dreams ever I had was I won the lottery, and it was so real. And My whole family was celebrating. We were all celebrating. This was like, I don't know, 15 years ago, and I can still remember it. I'm there. I'm winning it all. I have a check. They're taking pictures, and I'm like, I'm gonna be rich. My family's gonna be rich. My friends are gonna be rich, and everything's gonna be great. And the alarm clock hit at 6 a.m. I'll always remember it. And if people know what I'm talking about, it's a stupid alarm clock of the old school alarm. And I was just like, F me, this life, jeez. Like, yeah, so it kind of ruined it. So I know what you're talking about, Trey, is like, yeah, in the morning, man, it went off and it was like, it ruined it, right? It put me in a little bad mood. Um, One of my nightmares, I kind of overthink, but I've had this a couple times where like I get a phone call that my parents are dead and they're getting up there. So like it's becoming more reality than just a nightmare, right? And so it basically, I felt the anxiety, I felt the pain, I felt everything. Like I'm just being brutally honest. It felt real. It felt vivid. It felt like it was really happening, and I was just trying to figure out, like, damn, I don't have my parents anymore. And I woke up and there's like a bunch of group messages in my family, and my parents were typing to my brother and stuff, and I'm just like, it actually put me in a better mood than, the other way when I won the lottery and then had to get woken up to go to work at 6 in the morning. But you know what? Honestly, I am going the easy way, Trey. I am gonna pick that I want the best dream ever, because my brain's wild as hell. So I'm gonna go with the best dream. What about you?
All right, so Shane's going with the best dream, and yeah, it's interesting because people talk about how you can actually lucid dream. I've kind of, I mean, I haven't like seriously sat down and tried to figure out a way in which you can do that. For people that don't know what lucid dreaming is, it is the idea or the concept that you can actually draw things and you could use ways to basically know exactly when you are dreaming. And I'm thinking back to it. I don't even think I've had the the situation come up to where I was dreaming and I actually realized that I was dreaming. I don't think that really has ever happened to me. So for this scenario, I'm gonna go with the best dream, and my best dream is give me Trish Stratus in her prime years, like early 2000s, and Iggy Azalea, both of them, because that way, even if I wake up to reality, I know that I'm probably never going to. That's never going to become a reality anyway. So I'm probably just gonna go with that for the best dream. But so Shane, what if let's ask that. Let's flip the question on you. So you're saying you'd pick the best dream. What would that best dream be, and what would your worst nightmare be? You think?
Okay, that's a good one. And I'm gonna include Trey Jr. in here. He said he would do the best dream because it's a chance he could see his dad again in his dreams. So I feel you on that, Trey Jr. Man. Trust me. Like, I'm not like, trust me on that. That's a tough one, bro. So let's see. You said what would be if I could pick the best dream, and then if what would be my worst nightmare? My best dream, can it be not reality? Can like I make it up whatever I want in my head and that's true?
Yeah, man, it's the dream fairy. The dream fairy's coming to you and said you can pick anything, Shane. So it can be reality, not reality, whatever it is that you desire.
Okay, man. I've gone over this tons of times, bro. So I'm not off guard on this one, man. I've been in my head too many times. Best dream ever, best wish ever. Honestly, I wish all my friends and my family could live forever in perfect health with enough money to get by and have a happy and live forever. Honestly, that'd be my best dream ever. That all my family members, all my friends, they're in perfect health, they don't hurt, they don't suffer at all, and they have enough money to live life and have fun in it and live forever. That would be my best dream ever. My worst nightmare would be the opposite of it. Like, I don't have my kids anymore. I don't have my wife, my parents, my brother, family and friends, and like they're all gone, and I'm maybe in a jail cell, like a hellhole. Like they're all deceased, and I'm in jail. I'm in like the, like, where they throw you away basically, and you're in this small little I can't remember what it's called, where they only let you out 1 hour a day.
Are you talking about solitary confinement?
Yes. Solitary confinement. Thank you, Trey. So that would be hell for me. So my favorite one would be is if everybody could live forever. That is my friends and my family, and they have perfect health with enough money to go see the world and do whatever they want. And then my worst nightmare would be if all my family and friends were deceased and I had to live forever in solitary confinement. Kind of like the Green Mile. I don't know if people have watched the Green Mile, but it's kind of like that. That's a really good movie, man. I don't know if you've seen it, Trey, but yeah. So, anyways, what would you guys pick? What would you pick, Trey?
Yeah, no doubt. I haven't seen the Green Mile. I mean, I've seen enough. Like, I feel like I'm one of those guys to where like I've seen enough clips of it to where I think I kind of know what the gist of the movie is, and yeah, it definitely seems sad, especially the ending. It'll get you. That's for sure. But yeah, no, yeah, no, I'm definitely going with the best dream. I just find it fun. Yeah, I'm not gonna go there. I'll tell you after the podcast. But um, with that being said, Shannon, are you someone? Have you ever experienced like sleep paralysis before, Shane, or you don't know what I'm talking about?
Um, so you caught Trey Jr. off with that question. So that's a great Would You Rather segment by Trey Sr. So shout out to him. Sleep paralysis. Yeah, man. I used to suffer horribly by it. I mean, knock on wood, I haven't had it for like 10 years, but I would wake up and not be able to move, and it scared the bejesus out of me. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I never saw like what some people say, like they saw the devil or um they saw like demons or whatever. But man, I'm telling you, all your senses are going off, at least for me. I used to have it bad. I don't know why. I used to have it bad in my late teens and into my 20s and maybe into my early 30s, but I don't think so. I think my 30s and so far I'm into my 40s, like um I'm I've been pretty good, knock on wood. But yeah, that it's not the funnest thing. What's up, Rose? I think we got a little bit longer to go. We have a new segment called "Would You Rather, Rose." So it's pretty cool that Trey and I made up. No, yeah, Trey, I have definitely dealt with sleep paralysis, and it's not fun because like I literally felt. I know what people are talking about when they think they see something or think they see a demon or think they, whatever. It feels like somebody's sitting on their chest and whatnot. You're good, Rose. You're good. We always appreciate you being in here. Um, so basically, right now, Rose, we did. I think we are done with Would You Rather segment. It was Would you rather be a Vikings fan or a Buffalo Bills fan was one of them. The other one was Would you rather have the best dream ever or the worst dream ever, and then there's some rules behind it. We will clip this in case you want to comment on the stuff. But no, this is Trey Jr.'s in the chat right now. Trey Senior, Trey the Trey you know all the time. He has a mic. He's just waiting for me to quit rambling. But no, I sleep paralysis is it's crazy because all your senses are going off, and it feels like there's somebody just right out of eye movement, if that makes sense. Like there's somebody right there, but you can't see them. And yeah, that I mean, it's the craziest thing. But like towards the end, what I would do, and I'm gonna give you guys a little advice if you guys do suffer through it, because I would try to like throw my arms up and I wouldn't be able to move, and then I'd start tripping out, and then I'd get anxiety in my head. So here's what I did the last couple of times that I had it, and then I'll stop rambling, Trey. I'm sorry. Um, I would literally close my eyes and try to relax myself, and I'd be like, "Okay, body, I'm awake." And then I'd slowly start to move, and it'd usually have me come out of sleep paralysis quicker if I calmed myself down, if I closed my eyes, and if I just like kind of like slowed my body down, and then I'd slowly start to move my body, and I'd start to wake up more. So I don't know. What about you, Trey? Have you had it before?
Yeah, and just to give some clarity for Rose because she's in the stream. So yeah, the question was, would you rather have the worst dream ever or the best dream ever? And on the surface, it seems easy, but I want you to keep in mind because Shane was telling me his best dream earlier was that he won the lottery. So he has a dream that he wins the lottery. It feels so real. It's all happy. He's celebrating with his family. The alarm goes off, and then Shane realizes that he's actually didn't win the lottery, and he has to go to work for the post. Yeah, he has to wake up to go to work at the post office. But if he had the worst dream, then all of a sudden waking up to reality is actually not that terrible. It might actually be a relief in some cases, but no, and it's weird for me like going on the sleep paralysis thing is for me like it's never happened to where like I just wake up and I can't move. For me it's always happened like you know that phase when you're like kind of halfway asleep but not really asleep, and then so I'm just like kind of out of it, and then my body just goes, I can feel my body going to sleep but my mind is still awake and all that. So and like yeah, like what Shane says, like the worst thing you can do when that does happen, hopefully it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, the worst thing you can do is freak out because once you fear something, you make it become real. So if you freak out, then you're kind of messed up in the game. So what you want to do is you just want to take a deep breath. I know it's terrifying. You can't move. You can't even scream. Like literally, if you try to scream, you can't. It feels like someone has chains over you. Um, but the worst thing you can do is just kind of move and just not freak out. Just kind of go with the flow sort of thing with that one. So but yeah, that was a pretty good segment, Shane. And the other one was who was better at WSU? Was it Ryan Leaf or Drew Bledsoe? And Ryan Leaf, Shane seems to think that it was Ryan Leaf. And of course, I'm gonna have to be biased on that one and go with Drew Bledsoe because obviously I'm a Patriots guy, but it is also interesting, Shane, because they're both number one overall picks, Drew Bledsoe and Ryan Leaf, I believe so.
No, Ryan Leaf was
And
number two.
also, and also, do you know? Because I think the Seattle Seahawks. So when Drew Bledsoe gets taken number one overall, like who was the quarterback that the Seattle Seahawks? Because I think they actually had the number two in that draft class, if I'm not mistaken.
Dude, I have no idea on that one. I don't know. Ryan Leaf was number two. Yeah, there's also, have you guys ever had the it's called like hypno jerk or whatever? I'm probably saying it wrong. I'm probably butchering it. But it's where you're starting to fall asleep and like you jerk yourself awake. and it feels like you're falling. I've never had that, but my wife has had it.
I've
So
actually like heard. Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, like that, hearing you describe that, yeah, I have actually had that happen like every night. I think I've had that happen.
question, Trey, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm gonna ask you a question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Rose did say, read the comment. She said the dream scenario kind of is what the Bullet Crew podcast was talking about. How all these guys got called on prank called on draft night. Apparently, he said it's like getting your dream job, dream phone call. Honey, install the pool. We made it. Just kidding. You're still working at 9 to 5. That's kind of like what happened to Sanders. So here, Trey, I got a question for you because supposedly it can happen if you have a lot of caffeine or if you have a lot of anxiety. Do you do either of that or have either of that? If you don't want to answer, it's totally fine.
Oh yeah, I could see I could see both of those definitely playing a role. So yeah, that makes sense onto why that happens.
Okay, so that makes sense because like I said, I'm kind of like a nerd in the sense I research stuff a lot. Because I like to find things out. I'm a person who likes to know things just to see um what it's all about. Like, I mean, my wife is the type to kind of sleepwalk and go eat food and then go back to bed and have no memory of it. It's wild as hell because she looks wide awake, right? She looks like she's there, but if you start to know tells, you can kind of tell when she's asleep more, obviously. But like, you really couldn't if you didn't know her because she's talking and she's eating food, and then she'll just leave and like leave half of a like if she gets fruit snacks out, she'll have half of the fruit snacks eaten, and she'll go back to bed. And then the next morning, I'll be like, "Hey, remember?" And she won't remember any of it. Yeah, Rose, it is kind of like zombies. And yeah, caffeine messes with people. And like if you're an anxious person, you can get like the hypno jerks or whatever. It's something like the hypno jerks or something. It's like one word, I think. But yeah, you can get that if you're an anxious person or if you drink a lot of caffeine. And like if you mix both of it, obviously, you're not, totally relaxed, right? Yeah, Trey Jr., your little brother used to sleepwalk. Yeah, it's wild, bro. Like when I first moved out with her, like one time, sorry, I had to mute it, so I coughed. So one time my wife, we just moved out together, right? This is trippy. Like she's deathly afraid of spiders, right? So we're asleep. She gets up and leaves. I don't know this until the next day, okay? So I'm sleeping and supposedly she sleepwalks because she saw a huge spider on our bed and she went and got a butcher knife. Yeah, you're hearing me right, you guys. She went and got a butcher knife, came back and stood over the bed with it and snapped to. And then was like, oh my gosh, Shane would think I'm crazy standing over him with a butcher knife. Like, hey, you kind of crazy, woman. You kind of crazy. So that to me is wild. So you guys, I'm glad that I never had to deal with it myself. It is really wild. Trey Jr. said his little brother was walking one night. They had him come in the kitchen when he was sleeping. He said somebody started and ran into the door. Uh, Rose said apparently when I was like 2 or 3, I had bed night terrors. Basically, you're awake but like asleep. I used to do it with eyes open and full blown cry. Yeah, it's wild, you guys. I mean, it's a lot more common than people think. It's kind of like intrusive thoughts. Lots of people think that, you know, they're weird and nobody else has them, but I think I believe psychology says 94% of humans all have intrusive thoughts, weird thoughts, and it is normal because it just happens. And then I think there was a psychology term called the red car theory, like basically like how come you don't notice something until you either buy it or deal with it. So it is wild what your brain will pick up. Rose said not bedtime, night terrors. Yeah, I've kind of heard that, but like, I mean, I was too little, but like my brother had went over to his friend's house and I guess stayed up for 48 hours straight, and he came home and his eyes. I don't know if this is the same thing, Rose. So you could be like, nah, you're wrong, but like his eyes were open. Everybody thought he was awake and he was just freaking out. He didn't recognize any of us. He was just going crazy. Like he literally stayed for like 48 hours straight. He was like 10 or 11 years old at his friend's house. When he got him home, like he was like yelling, saying that like people like, who are we and stuff, like didn't recognize my dad or my mom. And then he slept for like 12 hours and was back to normal. I mean, your brain does some crazy stuff, and sleep deprivation makes it all worse, you guys. Like, sorry, Trey, I'm going on like psychology talk, but no, man, sleep paralysis is really crazy. Rose said night terrors is a form of sleep paralysis. You're awake but in a sleep state, and you usually start crying. Yeah, that is get sleep, you gooners. Hey, are you talking about the new term gooners? Because the new term gooners, yeah, that's wild. Anyways, if nobody knows what I'm talking about, and Rose, you are talking about the current term gooning and gooners, go look it up if you don't know what it means. No, so like my wife's mom, she slept walked one time, I guess, when they were kids, and she just got out ice cream, like like the jug of ice cream, and just started digging it out with her hands. And they're like, "What are you doing?" And she snapped too. It's really crazy, like, because a lot of these sleepwalkers, like especially like with my wife, I have no idea. For the longest time, I couldn't tell if she was really awake or sleepwalking. And if I start asking her enough questions, I can get her to like more snap too. And then she'll usually get pissed off at me and be like, "What are you doing?" Like, but I guess that's normal with like sleepwalkers. When you wake them up, they're kind of a little bit pissy. Okay, so Rose, you know what gooning means. Trey Senior, do you know what gooning means?
Yeah, I do know what it means. To keep it the most PG way of meaning it is basically you have an addiction to adult content, right, Shane? That's what it means.
It's pretty you're pretty close, man. That's like how the one guy not well, I don't want to say that because I can't say what he did and then what happened to him because I don't want to get censored on here. Trey Jr., you've never heard of it? Yeah, basically simp behavior. Hit her with the Rocky Balboa. Yo, it's wild though. It is wild. Like how do you wake up and eat something and you're asleep but you're awake? Because your mind's asleep, right? Your mind's asleep, but your body is awake. I don't know. So Trey Senior, have you ever slept walk?
Nah, that I haven't happened, and it was crazy, man. It was crazy hearing and I guess I can include the chat because you guys have been active and we appreciate the engagement as always. We appreciate it. But no, to be honest, Shane, I thought that sleepwalking was just something that wasn't real, and it's kind of funny because I remember I would tell like my parents and stuff that I had sleep paralysis, and they thought that I was an idiot. They're like, "That's not real. What the hell is that?" And they thought that I was gonna be like, "Yeah, the reason I didn't get up to school today was because I had sleep paralysis and stuff." But no, like the whole sleepwalking thing, I honestly didn't know that that was actually a thing. I thought that that was just talk, basically. But can you imagine, Shane? Like, what if like the story you were telling earlier about your wife grabbing a butcher knife because she thought that there was a spider? What would you do? What if she thought that it was you that was the spider? That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm asking myself when you were telling that story.
No, man, that means I'd be dead, bro. Bro, I would be deceased because I was sleeping and I had no idea. Like, you know what I mean? Like, now I kind of like set myself like to like the last, like, I don't know, 15 years to be a super light sleeper to hear stuff because I am like going to protect the household if, I've ever, if anything ever happens. Trader says he thinks he slept walk before, but he fell off the bunk and slept on through it. There has been people that have like fallen out of bed and just kept sleeping. It is wild. But no, Trey Senior. You know what's crazy though about that is she literally told me like she was afraid that I'd open my eyes and just uppercut her. Like she was really afraid. Like when she snapped to and was standing over me with a butcher knife, that if I opened my eyes, I might uppercut her. And it was crazy. Like, thank goodness it made her snap too. I don't even know what made her snap awake. Rose said Trey thought it was Hollywood movie BS. So, yeah, it is wild. I don't know what made her snap awake. Because lots of times she'll, like I said, she'll go eat a snack and go to bed and won't remember it. The only time she'll wake up is if I ask her, like a bunch of questions. And I usually do it to like kind of mess with her. Um, it is funny though how people just deal with stuff. Like I haven't slept walk ever in my life. But I have had sleep paralysis a lot. I used to suffer through that a lot. But I don't know,
Shane,
Trey. It would suck to be a sleepwalker, I guess.
Shane, have you ever had a wet dream before?
Dude, you know what you asked me like? You guys watch scary movie? You like scary movies? Um, no, no, I've never had one. Never in my life, and I'm being dead honest. Like, I should actually put money for goals, and you guys can ask me R-rated stuff. But no, I've never had a wet dream in my life. Um, right, ice bucket challenge, right, Rose? Um, she Rose said Trey does sound like that dude. No, I've never had a wet dream. Next time you guys ask me an R-rated question, Trey, I'm putting the goal chat for 2.99 and I'll answer R-rated questions. No. Anyways, no, for real talk though, no, I've never had one, Trey. Never in my entire life. I don't know why, man. I just never have.
Yeah, I never had one either. But they talk about it, and I'm like, yeah, I've never had that one before either. So, but nah, it's definitely crazy. Like the whole sleepwalking thing. Um, so is that something that that you can like get help for, or is that just kind of like something that like once you have it, it's kind of just something that you have to deal with, so to speak.
I believe what they say to do, right, is you just have to get a healthier sleep schedule. You have to cut back on like, you know, your caffeine and all that. See, like even looking up sleep paralysis, and this is the first time I've ever looked it up, you guys. So it says during an episode, you need to stay calm and focus on deep breathing. So during sleep paralysis, here is how you get better quicker and end the episode. You got to stay calm, focus on deep breathing, and then start doing small movements. So basically, what I said when I was talking to you guys about it before I looked it up, I did do it, and then Trey added on to it. That's what he does too, and yeah, basically that's how you do it. So here's how you're not supposed to get sleep paralysis: is get a normal sleep schedule. Make sure your bedroom's dark. You need to limit caffeine. Um, Sleeping on your side helps, and then get lack of or make your stress lack where you don't have any stress. So, I mean, that's pretty hard. Or you can have therapy where you talk to a doctor. But I mean, really, it's anxiety, it's stress, it's caffeine, just kind of like, like for like sleepwalking. I'm not entirely sure how to get help with sleepwalking. So let's see what it says how to fix your sleepwalking. I think it's oh yeah, no, it's exactly what I said. You need to limit caffeine. Try to limit your anxiety from caffeine intake, and then avoid sleep deprivation, and then also avoid sleep aid medications. So right there, basically, you guys, what they're telling you is don't be human. Don't have stress, don't have anxiety. The only thing really you can do is limit your caffeine, right? Because other than that, you're a human, right? You're gonna have stress, you're gonna have anxiety. Rose said, "Strap them down with chains, Trey. They ain't going nowhere, bedwetting and all. Lay off the NyQuil." Yeah, that's true. So basically, it's what we kind of talked about. Trey and I and Rose and Trey Jr. is basically for sleep paralysis and sleepwalking. You don't want to dig yourself a hole with sleep, and then you want to limit anxiety and limit caffeine because caffeine's a major role. So I'm not entirely sure why my sleep paralysis has gone away. I would probably say that I'm under more stress now lately, just because you got a little one like Rose. You understand that, and than I have been in a while. So I don't know about that. Maybe it was a caffeine intake for me. Right, Rose? Don't breathe, don't have feelings, don't have emotions, don't have any actual thoughts. Yeah, it's wild. Like, I mean, and then some people are just, wound tighter. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit uptight more. Um, I mean, so you can have your pros and cons from everything, but it is crazy how they literally just said, Trey, hey, don't be humans.
Yeah, no question. And it's like, it's kind of like what they say when, like, someone's struggling with depression. And I mean, I understand, like, with stuff like that, there's conditions and stuff, but I think a lot of times there is kind of a simple answer, like, if you exercise more and you're like more productive throughout the day and you eat better, you drink more water and stuff like that, then I think over time, if you kind of apply that to yourself, you'll start to feel better. Obviously, that's not true in most cases, but I think mostly if you're like depressed or stressed out and you take time to do activities and work out and stuff like that, I think over time you can get better. So that's kind of what I was thinking when you were going off about the whole, like, yeah, you want to avoid caffeine and stuff like that. But it is crazy, Shane, because like you were saying, like, oh, I woke up and I thought that your wife woke up to her standing over you, and you're like, oh, I thought you were gonna uppercut me, and I could just see the headlines, Shane uppercutted, because that would be a perfectly rational response. But can you imagine if you went to the hospital and then all of a sudden you get portrayed as a wife beater after that?
Bro, then I'd be a real one then after that. No, I'm totally joking, you guys. I'm totally joking. I'm totally joking. I totally joking. No, yeah, that is wild, Trey. But no, I'm gonna be honest though. Like the gym and the exercise is really, really true by you, Trey. So one thing I've noticed is like if I'm a little bit anxious, right, and or I'm bored more, and I go to the gym and I lift some weights, and then I jump on cardio for like 45 minutes an hour, and then I go outside and I'm like just in the sun, right, walking around. I feel better. B, I sleep better at night, even if it's 4 or 5 hours, which I average. That's all I average. Average honestly between like 4 to 5 hours, and sometimes it's broken up. Um, it is with like it does make you feel better. So, like you said, drink more water, exercise more, go outside, do all that stuff, and it'll probably help you. Like I said, I have no idea why the sleep paralysis went away from me, but I am pretty ecstatic, Trey, that it went away. I don't know. So are you still having it?
No, I haven't had it in a while. And it's kind of funny because I did read somewhere because I was kind of researching it and I seen one video and the way he was explaining it was if you're someone that doesn't have like a regular sleep pattern, meaning you just kind of go to bed in pockets and your sleep schedule is always evolving and changing and stuff, then that kind of you're more susceptible to get sleep paralysis and that. Versus if you're someone that just has a regular sleep schedule, you go to bed at a certain time and then you wake up, chances are, at least that's from what this guy was saying, is that you'll probably not experience sleep paralysis at all if your sleep schedule is normal and stuff. But from what I'm hearing, Shane, I think if because I talk to you and I know you text me sometimes at all hours of the night, so it's kind of crazy because I don't really think you have like a set schedule really, if I remember, or do you?
No, I mean, not really. By the time honestly, I'm gonna sound like I'm just gonna be honest. By the time my brain starts to shut down, it's like two a.m. and then I might fall asleep like at between 2 and 3 a.m. And then I might wake up at like 5 and have to get up because my back hurts. Then I'll lay down for a couple more hours, and then I'm basically up the rest of the day, unless I get a nap in later, which sometimes I need for like an hour. But yeah, my sleep schedule is kind of weird. Like it's not the best. I'm gonna be honest, but like getting older also doesn't help. So it all plays a part. Rose has a question though, Trey. So she said on football topics on hold on. The O Line Committee is a YouTube podcast with two former NFL linemen and one regular guy who does the podcast stuff. They're talking about football topics and trending news. Yeah, it's not a question, it's a story. I'm sorry, Rose. No, I'm joking. Their last episode, they brought up a question like who would win 100 men versus one silverback gorilla. He asked the two linemen. The two guys are Jeremiah Cyriles and Alex Boone. They both start laughing, saying no shot, one backhand, one smack. You're 12 feet away. Um, nah, you're good, Rose. I was just joking. I did see that it was all over Twitter or X or whatever you call it, and like here's where I'm at on this. If all 100 of us run and jump on them, I think we win. But a lot of people die because, they get destroyed. But like, is it kind of like, we're not all jumping them and they do what, you see the bar fights where like three guys are going to jump one guy and the leader's out in front and he goes to attack the guy who's by himself and the guy knocks out the guy that the friends think is the tough guy of the group. And then the other two kind of back off. If it's like that, then man, the gorilla might get through a hell of a lot of people because I see people. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people don't want confrontation. I don't know. That's a good one, Trey. How many do you think the gorilla would get rid of before they get
All right.
taken down?
All right, I got a counter question to that. So, say you get 100 people together to fight a gorilla, and the first guy goes up, and the gorilla rips his face off, breaks his arm, tears him apart. Once the other 99 people that see that happen, how many of them are going to approach him and still fight him? My response is not many. Like, Shane, if you and I were together and a gorilla came up to me and ripped my face off, broke me in half, and all that, be honest with you. Are you gonna run away? Or are you gonna try to do something? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if it was you in that scenario, I'm not too sure what would happen in that.
Real talk on it. What would I do? Um, I would try to get you away. Like if I thought I could still save you, I would try to grab you. I'd try to distract the gorilla. I am not dumb enough. I mean, there's humans out there that would destroy me and make me look like a little kid. A gorilla one-on-one is destroying me. Have you seen them shaved before? The chimpanzees? They're one muscle. No, honestly, Trey, if it was you and I, and for some reason we're in the zoo and you stole his banana and he he got mad, started breaking your face and destroying your arm. I would try to distract him and then get you out of there. I really would. Like, I'm that type of person. I'd probably go down with the ship if he attacked both of us. But no, man, if there's like 50 of us and I don't know these people and they're like the gorilla punches one of them and rips their face off, yeah, I'm leaving, bro. Like, I'm leaving. Like, I have no loyalty. Rose said to add on, gorillas are usually 300 to 450 pound adults. Usually they have 30 times their body weight and strength estimated. Yeah, I did research all that. Um, for me though, Trey, like, yeah, like, I'm not helping the other humans if I don't have any loyalty to them. I'm dapping up the gorilla, bro. I'm trying to be like friends with them, like Coco the gorilla.
No, it is funny because like, I've heard some people say it's like, well, we won't have a shot if we try to fight them, but maybe we can try to outsmart them and try to set them into a trap. And it's like I kind of imagine, like, can you imagine if you had that's two, my bad, but can you imagine if you had like Bill Belichick that tried to scheme up a way to defeat the gorilla, and and freaking like 20 or 40 people die, and then Bill Belichick's like, you mean to tell me we set up this perfect game plan to take down a gorilla, and you're over here dicking around, and you freaking failed us? Like, that's kind of what I think of.
Right, bro? And it's like what Rose just said. They said on that podcast that's like 3 Aaron Donalds in one gorilla. You're not going to do anything. People are dumb though. Okay, see, and I'm not going to okay, no, people are dumb. People are just dumb. They're dumb. People are dumb. Yeah, I don't know if it's their ego. I don't know if it's them being vain. Rose, tell Trey the last one. Oh, it's estimated they have 3 times the least. So Boone started laughing, saying 3 times. Said Aaron Donalds was 300 pounds. That's 3 Aaron Donalds. You're not doing crap to him. Facts. Yeah, that's facts.
You know what this reminds me of? Do you remember when Arian Foster went viral for a similar tweet? Arian Foster posted up a tweet that said that he could take a wolf if it was one on one, and then that kind of went viral too, with Arian Foster saying he can beat a wolf.
I kind of remember that. I do. The running back, right?
Yeah, the running back. Yeah,
Yeah, I do kind of remember that. But like this guy, I think it blew up on Twitter. This guy was a random person, I think, that just asked. It wasn't like it was a celebrity or a philosopher or anybody like that. I think it was just a random person, and people have ran with it within the last week. But it's like, let's be honest, Trey. You see how people are in general. The first person that goes up to that gorilla and he just rips their face off, most people are leaving. Like, actually, I think everyone leaves. I don't believe it. I don't believe anyone would leave after that.
yeah. No, that was my first question, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of, because I was hearing someone else talk about that, and they said the same thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, if you get someone to fight, like, no one's staying back and seeing the gorilla do whatever he wants to one person. No one, absolutely no one is staying back and trying to fight after that. They'd be like, oh, I'm out. Now, unless you get like 100 people that are on substances that generally don't care if they live or die. But I think even if you have someone that's doing that, I think an experience like that would probably sober them up pretty quickly. I think.
No, and it's like what Rose just said. Alex Boone said it's like the gorilla context is like 100 kindergartners versus one adult. Are we all in a bathroom stall kicking one by one? I mean, and to a degree, to be even honest, that's even less. Like a a gorilla's way strong. Like here, I literally have a couple friends that have literally told me that they would knock out Mike Tyson and Rampage Jackson. And for some people that don't know, Rampage Jackson was the USC light heavyweight champion at the time when this conversation said. Now my friend's like 5'8", like I don't know, 175 pounds, and he's like, dude, if he gave me one free punch, I'd sleep him. My buddy's he's kind of tough, right? He's kind of tough, but I've never seen him one hitter quitter. If you guys know what I'm talking about, and that's against normal people. I'm not saying that like professional fighters can't get slept by a normal human, but it's very rare. And then one of my guys that I work with told me, and this was 15 years ago. So Mike Tyson was like 45, 46, and he told me that, and this guy's like 6'2", 210, but he's not really much of a fighter. And we're sitting in the delivery truck because we're delivering furniture. That's what I was working on at the time, and he tells me that like he literally could knock out Mike Tyson, and I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, man, he's losing to trash pro boxers now. I could do that. Sorry, I could knock him out. And I'm like, nah, bro, no, you can't. Like when I went and dapped up Mike Tyson at Vegas when we met him, dude, his hands were double the size of mine. His face was double the size of a normal human being. And it's just like, dude, no, like I think a lot of people are I don't know if they're just talk or if they're really just dumb. Just like you really thinking you're knocking out Mike Tyson? You really thinking you're knocking out Rampage Jackson who walks around at 250 pounds? Like that's why they need bringing back pros versus Joes. I don't know if you've ever watched that, Trey. Rose, I don't know if you've ever watched that. But pros versus Joes was really, really cool. Like they'd have old pro athletes go against Joes to show them what the difference is in skill level. Now, a lot of these Joes were like, the thing was, is that they're like, some of them were former D2 athletes. So it's still not even the same as like a normal person like me. Look, I'm going to be honest. I'm a pretty good basketball player for a normal guy without any, college skill level. I'm not I'm not scoring a point on LeBron. I'm not scoring a point on Anthony Edwards or like baseball. I'm not like the whole thing like if you had 100 bats, do you think you could get multiple hits off of I think it was like no, excuse me. Here, I'll ask this one. And this is for you, Trey and Rose. Trey, Rose said, that's what the podcast said, exactly what Trey said. What happens when the first one snapped like a twig and number two pencil? How long before fear kicks in, they go running? No, that's true. Okay, so Trey, here's my question to you. And Rose, here's my question to you. Would you would you risk going to jail for 5 years for $5 million to try to get one hit off of, I don't remember who the pitcher was, but it's the equivalent of, at the time I believe the guy was throwing a 100-mile-per-hour fastball and then had like an 87-mile-per-hour slider and then like a 92-mile-per-hour splitter. You get 100 at bats, you have to get a clean hit off of him. Are you risking to try to get one hit in 100 bats for $5 million, and if you don't, you go to jail? I'm not risking that. I've been in a batter's box. I've been at even the ones where they do the shooting thing where the pitching machine shoots at you. And the best in my prime, when I was like, I don't know, 2021, I could hit 80 miles per hour kinda. But that was a straight 80 mile per hour fastball. We're talking about 100 miles per hour and then an 87 mile per hour, you know, curveball and a 92 splitter. So, Trey, would you take that deal? Would you say, yeah, I could hit off of this guy?
Nah, I don't think I would do that. And to be honest with you, like if you were to ask the question even without the baseball, like would you go to jail for 5 years and then at the end of it you get $5 million? I'd probably be like, yeah, no, I'm good because there's a very real possibility that I probably won't even survive that 5 years. to even get out and enjoy the $5 million. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna pass up on that, bro.
no, bro, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. Now, the only one I would take, right? It says there was one that said you get, and I'm gonna like kind of make it up a little, but I think people might see it. I don't know if you've seen it, Trey. It was on Twitter, but it was like, okay, a layup in basketball, you get a free like $500. If you make a free throw, you get, I believe, like $1,000. If you make a 3-point shot, you get like $50,000. And if you make a half court shot, you get $1 million. But you only get one shot. And then people are like, "What would you do?" I would literally try to take a 3-point shot because I'm confident in 3-pointers. Like I would do that. But it's kind of like that. Trey, do you know who Randy Johnson is? Rose wants to know.
I think he's no, I'm thinking of yeah. Oh yeah, like oh yeah, Shane would. I think Shane would be mad at me if I said no because I believe he was a pitcher for the Mariners, and I think he is best known for hitting a bird and killing a bird with a pitch, right, Shane? That's who Randy Johnson is.
So Trey, I'm proud of you. He was Seattle Mariners, and he did kill the bird that went viral with the 100-mile-per-hour fastball. But he also did, win some Cy Youngs and go to the Hall of Fame. But yes, Trey, I am proud of you overall, bro. Like, I mean, I'm proud of you for knowing that. Rose said, or get $100,000 if you can tackle prime Adrian Peterson one-on-one in 10 attempts. No, I'm not taking that. I also had a friend tell me, and this dude's like 5'9" and was like 150 at the time, say he could tackle Jerome Bettis one-on-one in the open field. Now, Trey, answer me this. Rose, you can chime in too. Is it ego that really makes people think that they could do this? Or do you think it's that they can't imagine somebody being that much better than?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both, and I think it kind of goes back to like, people are like sitting on their chairs on their recliners and they're watching these athletes and they're like, how the hell do you miss that field goal? How the hell do you drop that pass? How the hell are you missing that throw and you make $1 million? But in reality, it all boils down to is that there's a reason why they're playing and that they're watching. So that's kind of my response on that. But with that being said, though, is there something around that same vein that you look at and you think, yeah, I could probably do that? Because with me, I kind of look at I could probably do well with chicken wing contest. I think I could probably do that. But what about you, Shane?
Oh, this is a good one. Yeah, Rose, exactly. Armchair QBs. Yeah, maybe eating steaks. Like, how many steaks can I put in? But, bro, like, even the wing contest, I watched this wing contest, and, like, fifth place was like 70 wings they put in. And it wasn't even close to the top three. Even that, like, the only thing that I might be like, if they're like, hey, if I gave you 25, or I think there was one for Mr. Beast. One of the guys won the contest for $750,000. Can you make 100 threes in an hour or something? Um, I would say yes. For myself, yes. I believe that I could make 100 threes in 1 hour for 750K. Could you, Trey? Could you, Rose?
Yeah, I think I could do that. When it comes to sports, though, like I think, like I look at football and like when it comes to like putting together a game plan or like telling the quarterback, hey, on third down we're doing this, or telling the defense, hey, we're gonna run cover three. I don't think I can do that, but where I think I probably could in a way is like the whole where you're basically saying, okay, it's fourth down, should we go for it or should we not? Because I think with that, I have a decent feel for how the game is flowing. Or like if someone says, hey, should we challenge it? I don't know if we want to risk a timeout in that situation. I think things like that, Shane. I look at stuff like that and I think, yeah, I could maybe do that because I've watched enough football to where like X's and O's I might not be good, but certain things were like people who are calling the X's and O's stuff are far removed because they're so in the weeds. I think I could be like a resource for that kind of thing in a way.
No, but see, that would be like logical, right? Um, Other things like knocking out a pro fighter one on one in a fight, like 99% chance you're not doing it. Probably 99.9. I'm probably even being dumb by saying 99%. Yours is the least logical, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely logical. And you're talking about Mike Tyson earlier. Do you think like when he was fighting Buster Douglas and Buster Douglas won? Do you think he won fair and square, or do you think there was some kind of controversy with that one?
I know they did the whole like long count for Buster Douglas when he got knocked down, but like I mean overall, like I'm a Tyson fan, but nah, Buster Douglas won fair and square. I mean by that time Mike Tyson had lost Cus D'Amato and the wheels were starting to come off anyways. I mean, like he said, he wasn't training. He got knocked down in sparring for the first time, I guess, before the fight. He was having a lot of sex with the Japanese working maids over there. They just come to his hotel room, and that this is from him. This is not from me. This is what he said. So the wheels had already started to falling off, and yeah, he lost fair and square to me. Rose said about the Adrian Peterson. I liked how you just said not. Yeah, I'm not trying to do that. Like, I'm really not. I'll give you an example. Rose and Trey, and to everyone else listening. So when I went to the Seattle Mariners games last year, right? I got to see Shohei. Wait. No, it was a couple years ago. It was 2 years ago because Shohei was the last year as a Dodger, or I mean as an Angel, not as a Dodger. So I think it was 2 years ago, maybe. Maybe this is the third. Yeah, this is like the. Yeah, so it was like the third season ago. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It was the Angels and the Yankees back to back. I was like, ooh, it'd be so awesome to be a pitcher out there, and I would love it. But then my brother got us seats where it was like you were right down there, right? So you could see how big of humans they are. And Atani and Judge, my goodness, when I say they are big human beings, they are big human beings. And dude, it even goes. We used to go to Gonzaga men's basketball banquets, right? And they had a guy named Karnowski, and then you guys might know his name, but Demontis Sabonis. And they were really cool people. Like they stayed after the banquet ended while some of the other college players disappeared, which is fine. They did autographs, but I literally came up to Karnowski's stomach and Sabonis's stomach part, start of his chest. Like people need to realize how big these athletes are. Rose said, but exactly what you said. You could probably take the street pros and stuff, but if you play LeBron or Anthony, you're not scoring anything. Hey, Rose knows Gonzaga. I'm impressed. Demontis, Chet Holmgren. Yeah, Sabonis was so cool, though. Yeah, you're right. Sabonis was so cool. Like, I mean, this is a guy that ended up going pro, and he's a very, very good NBA pro. And he was literally staying after the banquet ended, talking to everyone, making sure everybody got their autographs that did ask. I didn't ask, which I probably should have, but I'm not really like a celebrity gawker, if that matters. And to people that are, that's cool. Like teach their own. But Trey, what I'm saying is that we're small compared to them. We're small people.
Oh yeah, and here's even a good example because I know Shane in the past and like even me like we've also been to professional wrestling events in the area. And I don't know how you are because I remember talking to you about this and I think you said you kind of watched wrestling back in like the 80s but then like as you got older you kind of fell out of touch with it, which is crazy to me because you grew up in the 90s, which is literally the peak of wrestling. Like I mean, I could see like watching it in the 80s and you were in high school and people would kind of look at you funny, but like in the Attitude Era when you had like The Rock and Stone Cold and those people, I think it'd be kind of cool to watch wrestling back then. But yeah, even going to the wrestling event, like, were you pretty impressed because like even though people say oh it's fake or whatever, but with that, man, if you're not like in sync with each other and like on the same page, you can get hurt really easily. So like you have to also be athletic to do that, even though people say it's fake or whatever.
No, man. See, this is the thing. It's acting, right? It's acting. It's just like a movie. So like, some people like romance, some people like comedy, some people like thriller. Some people like the serial killing stuff where like Saw, that's what I'm talking about. Not everybody likes the same thing. I feel for a lot of guys that they got made fun of for like in like, WWE, WWF when it is what it is. Like if you like it, like I just decide own it. And like, yeah, late 80s, my favorite wrestler was Andre the Giant and Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man Savage. My brother at the time was Hulk Hogan. So I did watch until like the early 90s, and then the late 90s when I went to high school in early 2000s, like, yeah, well, I wasn't a fan of wrestling. I didn't watch it. Did I know who they are? Yes, because my friends watched it. But like, I was that time period of my life, Trey, like I was just so into basketball and soccer and baseball that like I just didn't really mess with it. Rose said she remembers when her and her wifey in Fresno for we got to slap Derek Carr's hand in a total before the game, and it was huge, huh? It was huge, Rose. I bet it was huge. Um, but no, man. So then when my oldest got into wrestling, we went to a lot of the matches at the Spokane Arena, and they were impressive. Like we got to see Charlotte Flair. We got to see the Shield before they even blew up. I think we got to see Oksuna, and then the one that was like really cool to me because I liked him was the Big Show, and we were lower, and he was huge. Like that's a big human being too. And yes, they beat themselves up. Like it's not for the weak. Like let's not be honest. Like has it gotten easier compared to like what I grew up with like, like they're really whacking each other on the head. They're like really doing like sure, but like it's better now, but they still get broken bones, they still tear ligaments, they still get messed up from it. So like Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, I loved him, Rose. But yeah, Trey, it's still real to me, damn it.
Oh yeah, that was a classic line right there. It is still real to me, damn it. Yeah, let's go with that. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy, and I mean, I'm always kind of jealous. I can't lie when like whenever you talk about like your younger days of Shanghai U11 and you talk about growing up in the late 90s and early 2000s. I'm kind of envious. Like part of me kind of wishes I kind of grew up in that era, like in the late 90s and early 2000s.
I mean, it was cool, bro. It was cool, but like you're talking just strictly like WWE standpoint or in general.
Yeah, I'm talking about like in general and like the music and like the style back then, like the whole baggy clothes and stuff like that. Like it all seems like pretty cool. Like more up my alley, I think. More.
Bro, I had the baggy jeans, bro. But I'd have the button ups too. I had the button up. Hardy Harshane's humble brag in his 90s. Yo, I love the 90s though. I'm not gonna lie. I know everybody loves their era. I know everybody gets nostalgia from everything, but like I don't know, man. Like the 90s, late 90s were cool. Even the early 2000s, like I mean, like look like some of my artists that I loved, like Tupac. Well, hey, everybody knows I love Tupac. That was amazing. But see, I loved all kinds of music. Like I love Celine Dion. I don't care. I'll rep that. Make fun of me all you want. Luther Vandross, DMX, Eminem coming out. Eminem set my whole school on fire when he came out. I'm not even gonna lie, but you know what's crazy? My brother had the first CD that Eminem did. I can't remember what it was called. Trey, do you remember what it was called? But the first one, first one.
Well, if you're talking about his first one before he got signed with Dre, it was Infinite, but I'm probably guessing it was his first major release that when he Dre signed him, which was the Slim Shady LP.
No, I think it was Infinite, Trey. Infinite. It wasn't
I
Slim
don't.
Shady.
I don't. How the hell is he getting Infinite like back
Dude,
then? I don't
I'm
believe
pretty
that.
sure, bro. I'd have to ask him. I'd have to verify. Maybe you're right, but like I don't know, bro. He got a lot of stuff, bro. I don't know how he did that. Like he also bought a death row chain, a legit death row chain from in the late 90s. I don't know how he did it, but there was like wasn't that I think there was eBay and stuff like that. I'm not entirely sure. So you might be right, Trey, because I'm not gonna go 100%. Like I said, memories are crazy. I'm like 90% sure that he had the Infinite album or CD. So but you probably are
It
right,
is.
Trey. I'm not gonna argue on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I have in my head.
Yeah, you should text him after we get done with this podcast to see if he still has it and if he would be willing to sell it to me. Cause shit, if it's Infinite, I'd be willing to sell it
Because
if
that
it's like a legit copy and all that.
Infinite's the one that he wasn't signed at all, right?
No, that was like back before he was like anything. That
Wasn't
was
it like
before he like
96 or
embraced the whole Slim
97?
Shady character. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
97. Yeah.
okay. So yeah, so 90. Okay, Corey says it was 96. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my brother said that dude, like I might be crazy though. So like I might be wrong on this one. Rose said Vanilla Ice, no particular song or anything that made him famous. Yeah, Ice, Ice. Dun, 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 dun. Rose said the 80s are the best time, real world, best sports time. Like I said, it is a lot of nostalgia, but like I love the 90s. I do see a lot of people saying that they wish they grew up in the 90s, but I will say that I did grow up with people that said they wish they grew up in the 70s. Oh, Rose said my dad said, not her. My bad, Rose. But no, it was fun though. The one thing that I did like is that you weren't always available, right? Like if you didn't want to talk to anybody, you didn't have a cell phone where you'd get blown up until you had to answer. But at the same time, like Rose, my bad, Rose. I know you're not that old. You're still a young one. You're a youngin. But no, Trey, it was pretty cool. Like it was pretty cool, the music for sure.
Yeah, yeah. In every generation has its goods and its bads, and like you said, when you're nostalgic about something, you're looking at it from like rose-tinted glasses, and you look at all the good stuff, but you never remember all the bad stuff because it's nostalgia, like you said. But I think Shane, if you wanted to know what the bad side of the '90s were, you just had to take a look at '99 Woodstock, and then you kind of see like the whole bad part of the '90s. Do you think that's pretty accurate?
Here, I'll say this, Trey. I'll say this. I was part of the first school shooting that was major, that changed the whole world. Columbine. I was a freshman, so that changed a lot of stuff. Um, but what was crazy is Trey's bringing up Woodstock. Rose said, I do remember Woodstock '90s or whatever, but like I don't remember much of it, so I don't know what I was doing then. I don't know if was it Woodstock '99?
Yeah, it was Woodstock '99, and they burnt that place to the ground, and it was kind of cool because the first Woodstock was in '67. It was basically all about like positivity and people coming together, but you go to Woodstock '99, and everyone's just like cussing at each other and being angry and stuff like that, and not to mention a lot of the S word assault that was taking place back then. So,
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Rose even said '99 was infamous. Yeah, no, Rose, Columbine was in Colorado, you're correct. And like a lot of people a lot of the school shootings that happened after, I don't want to say too much cuz like sometimes they dock me, but a lot of it was copycats. They were copying it. So yeah, I had to deal with that. But a lot of the mid '90s and late '90s was white suburban teenagers thinking that they were like, in the hood and gangster. So it was always that was entertaining. But hey, man, it made me rap, so it did something for me for a little bit of 15 minutes of fame. But no, another one that was crazy that probably I don't know if you dealt with it, Trey and Rose. I don't know if you guys were old enough to remember, but like when you're seeing people off, right, at the airport, you could uh you could go to like right where they enter the tunnel or whatever, the tarmac or whatever, and see them off without a ticket and all that. After 9/11, they cut all that out. Were you guys, oh, you did visit, Rose visited Columbine when her and her wife came for, uh, during the winter of Canada. Okay, you go to USA during the winter. Okay, that makes sense. But no, so Trey, do you remember, you were too little, right? You were 97, right? You were born in 97?
Yeah, I was born in '97, and I think Columbine was '99, if I'm not mistaken. So like when that day happened, I think you were probably in high school. I'm pretty sure. So like, what was the reaction like when you found that news? Like, where were you, and how did people react when they heard that?
So I'll always remember it, man. Um, so I was a freshman, right? And we had one in Moses Lake, actually, I believe in the mid 90s, where, one or two people lost their life. But other than that, it was like, you didn't worry about that. Like, I have a new fear when I drop my oldest off to school. And then now I have the youngest one coming up to kindergarten. I have that fear. And yeah, you're not supposed to worry, but like, you know, anyways, I was a freshman. I believe this is on Pacific Standard Time. We're in the West Coast. Trey knows that. Rose, I'm West Coast Pacific Time. Um, I believe it was right after lunch, and it was fifth period language arts. I know it was language arts for sure. The teacher at the time was Mr. Hayes. Now, he got fired from my high school for some inappropriate behavior after I graduated, but no, I believe it was fifth period language arts. Actually, I know it was language arts, but I believe it was fifth period. And he had the radio on, and I was the first person in there. And he waved me over and he told me, listen to this. And he turned the radio on, right? So he turned the radio up for me to hear. And they were just basically saying, oh, like at the time, like, you know how the news or people, like it's exaggerated at first, right? Because like for me, 9/11, I was a junior in high school, and we were told 8, 9, 10 planes had been hijacked. Even the government thought that there might be that many, and then it went to 6, and then it went to 5, and then it ended up being 4. So they were thinking that like 25 plus kids passed away, and at the time, you never have heard of that. Now kids, like some of the kids nowadays have gone through two school, you know what I mean, two school situations. I believe the Florida one, and then some of them went to college at Florida State or wherever, where another one happened. I don't know how much this is going to get censored later on, or if I'm going to get a notice, but yeah. Oh, I didn't know that the Pumped Up Kicks song was inspiration from Columbine. Rose, yeah, I did not know that, but yeah, Trey, like it was crazy actually to think about. So my 4 years at high school, I was a freshman at Columbine, and then my junior year was 9/11. And the thing with the whole Columbine thing is there was a whole new fear. I remember, geez, I remember, I think maybe a week or two down the road after that, we had a school auditorium or whatever where we all had to get together, and little did we know that there was a threat. I didn't know it at the time until they locked the doors and said we couldn't leave because there was a threat of an active person. But luckily, obviously, it was just a false threat. And I was a little bit worried the rest of my freshman year that it happened, but like it's funny how resilient high school kids are and how resilient kids are in general. My sophomore year, I didn't even think about it anymore. But then like after high school and I graduated and it's just like it's become a common theme in the negative way. And I just see I don't I look I like we're going down a rabbit hole, Trey. Rose said it's a lyrical breakdown of the dark since all the other kids better run, outrun my oh yeah, I've heard that song. I know the song you're talking about now, Rose. I didn't know it was about Columbine. But I don't know, man. I don't know, like I don't wanna like I'm gonna sound like a boomer and an old person. Um but no, man, I think a lot of people are desensitized now, like I said, like when I was on social media after that one mall thing happened on Texas and I saw some graphic stuff, right? I don't know if it's like I don't know what it is that has made people different, but yeah, Columbine was my freshman year and then 9/11 was my junior year. What's up, Tree? No, we're talking about just basically what happened during the 90s and early 2000s. But yeah, so Trey, yeah, that's basically where I'm at on that.
Shout out to Trebe entering the chat, and yeah, no, it's crazy, and it's also kind of funny. You said you were the first person to walk into the language arts class back then, and so Shane, what I'm gathering is, were you kind of the teacher's pet back in the day? You were always the first one in the classroom, and never got in trouble with like the detention and being late to class. Did you ever skip school back in the day, or were you pretty good on that?
Nah, man, I was never a I was never a teacher's pet. And it doesn't make it a good thing or a wrong thing. Rose said, yeah, back then it was super news breaking crazy, a lot of desensitizing. Yeah, no, it is very true, Rose. Yeah, it's really true. People got used to them like a regular theme, and they stopped taking it um so serious. Yeah, no, I agree. Something's changed. And I don't know exactly what. Treeb said he was a rapper. No way was he a teacher's pet. No, like I mean you're right, Treeb. No, it depended on like for the most part. No, I got sent to in school suspension, but I mean what boys during high school did get in trouble, right? Once in a while. My junior year was tough. Like overall, I was on the soccer team. I got in a fight in school, got suspended for a week, and then there's a kid that lived by me at the time who told me he was gonna do something to my mother when we weren't around. You guys can think it out, but it's sexually. So I caught him in the bathroom and I smashed his face against the mirror and it broke the mirror and everything. And I ended up leaving and I got in trouble. The security guard there put me in like some like I don't know arm bar and slammed me against the wall. I ended up getting expelled from Cheney actually. I had to write a letter. I had to meet the whole like the principal, the assistant principal. I believe the superintendent was there. I had to write a letter about like how I would never do it again, and if I ever got in another fight, I would be just gone for good. Um. So, anyways, they knocked my suspension down to like I believe honestly it was like 40 or 45 days. So basically, half my like I don't know, like it was dumb of me basically March and April and May I didn't even go to school because I got in a couple fights and then I didn't even get to finish out my junior year of high school soccer, which I was doing really good at in at goalie. Rose said she got ISS one time, and that was because she said the F word for one day, mother effer. Yeah, that's wild though. But I mean, I don't know. Trey, did you ever get in trouble at school? Treve, if you're still here, did you ever get in trouble at school? Like, I was pretty good freshman and sophomore year. Junior year, it kind of went off the rails for me for that time.
Yeah, no, that's definitely crazy. And yeah, no, there's not really any stories that I can think of for both me and Tree because we're only 2 years apart. So unless I'm completely missing something, and Tree will say, "Oh yeah, what about this time? You did that," but I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. But so like when you got suspended, were your parents like upset at you? And like when you were on that suspension, was it pretty much a vacation where you didn't really do much, or did your parents still kind of make you do stuff when you were suspended?
No, man. Here, I'll tell you this. Like, I really didn't care my junior year. I was, like I said, I was an idiot. Like, I thought I was like some cool, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I was just dumb. I was young and dumb. Okay. Reeves says Trey was a bad boy, bad boy, bad boy. What you gonna do? Hey, Rose, should have met in the parking lot after for sure. No. So like, I get sent to the principal's office after I banged the kid off the head off the mirror and broke it. Security guard saw me coming out. Like I said, he armbarred me into the wall, and I was sitting on the chair, and I didn't care, honestly. I didn't care about, like, I wasn't worried about anybody. And then I saw my mom walk through the school doors, like, she was in her work dress. She was a counselor and stuff, and she was walking, and I was scared crapless, you guys. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was more afraid of my mom at that time than anyone. I remember, I remember her driving me up to the hilltop overlooking the city, and she was just wondering, like, she was asking me, like, what am I gonna do with you, Shane? What am I gonna do with you? And I was like, look, mom, and I promised her, and she took me home, and she made me do, like, go outside and sweep the deck, sweep the, like, you know what I mean? Do all that stuff. And then my dad was like, yeah, like, he was kind of upset because I got in trouble. But when I got my head split open in, I believe, sixth grade, I got my head split open because I tried to walk away. He told me to always defend myself. The first fight junior year, I was defending myself, so he didn't really care. But the second time, he told me I was the aggressor, which he understood me trying to stick up for my mom, but he didn't agree with what I did at that point. Um, so nah, I did get, like, whatever, 30, 40, whatever it was, 40, 45 days worth of homework, and I did it in like 15 days. So like, I just got it all done. I mean, I think I was grounded for a couple weeks, but the last 2 weeks, like, my mom just was like, whatever, and she'd take me where she had to go to work and stuff, and like, I'd have to go with her to her office and, to the library and all that stuff when we'd get off and stuff. But no, it's not like I was like free to roam for sure. None of that. Yeah, Rose mom was on my butt. I'll say that. Treep said I punched a kid in the face one time, and Trey and I ran away on our bikes. We got the last laugh. Third grade was wild. Wild boys, man. Wild brothers in third grade handling business. I like to hear it though. No, yeah, Trey. To sum it up, I was dumb. Looking back now, I was dumb junior.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't lie, and like, this is something that I've been always thinking, but like, so, you get suspended, right? It's whatever, you're doing homework and, you're just trying to get through it, but, that first day back after the suspension, you're picking out your first outfit. I mean, like, your first day back, you're coming off the suspension. You gotta feel kind of cool after that, right? You're coming back after the first day of suspension, you're like, yeah, everyone's gonna think I'm cool and everything, or am I kind of missing the mark on that?
You know, I honestly don't remember I don't remember honestly the first day coming back. I mean, I think it was like cuz like I think most people were wrapping up. I think it was closer to like school almost getting out from my memory, maybe like a few weeks. I mean, the only time that I felt sort of cool is I believe it was my senior year, and we had went to EW and we were playing basketball, so it was my brother, my dad, and a couple of my buddies. My buddy brought in the skateboard, and these two guys were known for being trouble around our community. I didn't know it at the time. He threw a basketball at my dad. My dad hit my dad with the basketball in his temple and knocked my dad out. And at that time, I had never seen my dad get hurt before because, like, honestly, he was like Iron Man, right? I mean, that's how you usually think about your parents. And I rushed the kid. I was starting to beat him up. Well, his brother came and picked up my friend's skateboard and just cracked me upside the head 3 times, knocked me out. I woke back up. I was trying to get back at the kids. My whole white t-shirt was just red. They ran out, yada yada. Long story short, the main part of this is I got stitches, and the next day I was like, I'm coming to work. I'm coming to, or I mean, I'm not coming to work. I'm coming to school. And when I came to school, like all the girls were like, "Oh, Shane, oh," so I kind of felt cool then. But I mean, like I said, after that, like I never got in trouble my senior year. Like even the principals, like I never thought you'd graduate, but I'm proud of you. And like I honestly am too, because like that stuff was wild my junior year. I was completely wrong for what I did to the kid in the bathroom. Like he was most likely bull cropping, obviously. The first one I was protecting myself, but the senior year one, I'm gonna defend my dad all day. Treeb said getting knocked out with a basketball is bananas. How hard did he throw that? This is an insane story, Shane. Treeb, like my recollection, like he was like, I don't know how to explain it, like 5, 6 feet away, and he threw it perfectly and hit my dad in the temple, and my dad dropped like a sack of potatoes. And like my dad, I like he grew up, like I'm gonna be honest, he grew up tough. He grew up rough. Like I seen my dad get in a fight when I was 14 at Colville when these guys tried to jump my brother at a tournament, and he beat up all 3 guys by himself. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to sound cool. I'm just telling what the story is. So like Tree, like my dad was like, I don't know how to say it. Like my dad, like I'm like, man, my dad's so tough. He's bigger than me. He's taller than me. He's like 6'3". He was like just buff as hell. And like I don't know, man. It was weird. It was like I said, like maybe 5, 6 feet away, and it must have hit his temple perfectly. And yeah, man. And so I rushed a kid, and I was starting to beat him up. I got on top of him because I'm a good wrestler. I never did wrestling like you, Treve. I know you're strong as hell wrestling. I took him down. I was beating him up. The dude tried to rip my eyeball out, but I was smacking his head against the ground on the gym floor in the basketball like. So I don't know if that did anything, but I was winning. And then his brother came and just cracked me. And when I say he cracked me, it was weird because like I kind of dropped to my like my knees, right? Like, and it was like blurry. And then he hit me again, and I fell down to my fours, and they got on top and cracked me, and then it went black. And when I got up, I had a white T-shirt on, and it was pure red, bro. And like I was trying to get back at him, but I guess my brother caught up to him and knocked him out with a punch on the other side. Like, yeah, bro, like we were dumb though. We're dumb. Uh, your dad has an eBay store called Sally Ferguson's, and not the same breed. Hey, man, that's cooler, man. Like, shit, I take that. No, yeah, he literally like tried to gouge my eye out, man. It has some crazy stories like Colville. I mean, you guys have heard of Colville. You live where we are. Yeah, that was a tournament that these 3 like town bullies is what the police called them, would try to pick on people, out of towners especially, and they tried to jump my brother, and my dad just went up and punched one dude, dropped him. The other 2 kind of like scattered. The dude that he dropped tried to get at him again, and my dad punched him, and he fell over the mailbox. So, the big blue mailbox that you put all your mail in. Then the other guy tried to run up on him. My dad grabbed him by the throat and lifted him up. Yeah, like I said, man, that's why I was shocked though when my dad got knocked out by the basketball, because like I've seen him handle it. I have a rural Washington accent. Damn, do I really? I mean, I was born in the country, so I was born in the country outside Cheney, but I didn't know that, man. But yeah, Trey, that's anyways, like I'm blabbing you guys. I apologize. Oh, and while I'm here, make sure you guys go check out Trey and Treeb's podcast. You can click on Treeb's profile right there, and I believe it'll take you to the channel. You guys are more than welcome. Treeb, you can post your link for you and Trey right now. If a moderator doesn't handle it, I'll handle it. But go check out Trey and Treeb show. It is the Brothers podcast, the TNT podcast. It's pretty funny. They have cooler stories for sure.
Yeah, no question, no question. I appreciate the shout out from my guy Shane Got You 11. And yeah, I'm sure there's ways, like, especially when and I know, like, when I say this, people are gonna say, oh, it was the virus that did this, but like with Damar Hamlin, how he collapsed, and if you want to believe the conspiracies on why that happened, then that's fine. But the explanation is like if you hit someone at the right amount of time, it could cause that to happen. And I'm pretty sure there's something that if you get hit with the basketball in a certain way, that it could do damage and possibly knock you out and stuff like that. So yeah, that's all good. But Shane, we've been on here for quite a while. I think we've did a pretty good job at covering. Obviously, the Would You Rather segment was good. Looking forward to getting back into that and some pretty exciting stuff. Actually, Shane and I are planning to stream some Fall Guys pretty soon in the next coming week. So I'm looking forward to that. Hop in it. We're gonna be vibing, talking, and stuff like that. So we hope that you guys will join us for those streams. And again, we appreciate the support. Shout out to Trey Jr., Rose, and Trebe, and however many others that have been lurking and watching. We appreciate you guys for checking out the podcast and everything. And with that being said, I'm going to toss it over to Shane to close us out for this edition of the web. Oh, yeah, and it's April Fool's, too, because this is the first podcast from April, so I wanted to throw that in there as well. So yeah, April Fool's, Shane. I'm quitting the podcast, just so you know.
Damn, hey Trebe, I got a spot. I got a spot that just opened up, bro. No, I'm joking. Um, Trebe said a lady in Lewiston died not that long ago from a rock just hitting her in the right place. Not that big either. I suggest we should have added a photo of a rock, but no dice. Hey man, you know what's wild though? It is actually. Hey Trebe, I'm just trying to let it happen. You know what I mean? Uh, no. So get this, you guys. So I had a tax guy, Trey. I don't know if I ever told you this. Sorry, Trey. I'm just blabbing tonight. So hey, I'm like youthful today. Okay, you guys. Um, I did have a tax guy, Trey. Did I ever tell you what happened to the tax guy before? I don't think Trebe heard it.
No, I don't think you told me about the tax guy. Did he f you up in the IRS or what? Because yeah. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so I had a tax guy that I went to, really nice guy, young guy too, and a partner, his partner, two guys that were good friends with each other. Um, we went there for like 3 years in a row, and like the fourth year he wasn't answering me or anything, and I'm like, this is weird. So I kind of like blow him up, nothing. So long story short, his partner writes and goes, he's dead, and I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, man, it was the day before Father's Day. He was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And look this story up. I look it up. I don't actually, I don't know how you'd look it up. You'd have to Google it. Um, Basically, he was trying to break up a fight at the bar, outside the bar. Because Trebe, you're telling me about the Rock, and so this it jogged my memory. And So basically, he was trying to break up a fight, and the guy swung. I don't know, swung at the guy, but my tax guy was in the middle, and he got hit, and he fell down and hit his head on the sidewalk, like on a corner of a sidewalk, and he died. And that's how he died, the day before his Father's Day, before Father's Day, and he left a 6-year-old. It was virus. But yeah, people die by the weirdest stuff. Like, my brother had a family friend. She was walking her dog and she tripped and hit her head on a rock, and they thought she was fine, and then she hemorrhaged. But yeah, anyways, you guys, I really appreciate you all being in here. Like, from Rose to Trey Jr. to the other couple people in here, and then to Treeb. Like I said, go check out the TNT podcast. One day we will have to have Treeb on here. Maybe one day I'll be on your guys' podcast down the road, but go check them out. We will see you guys in a couple weeks. Everybody be safe. I'm sorry for blabbing too long, Trey. Hopefully you guys found the stories interesting. Till next time, you guys be safe and have a great day. He might, Treeb. He might. Have a good one, you guys.